So with support for the war in Iraq dropping, the crisis in North Korea, and elections just 22 days away, the mood of the country is pretty darn volatile. And recently we asked three feisty conservative radio hosts what their listeners were saying. Tonight we hear what the left has to say. Joining me for a top story panel right now, Sam Seder of Air America Radio. Stephanie Miller is heard on the Jones Radio Network, and Joe Madison, host of The Power on XM Satellite Radio. Glad to have all three of you with us. Sam, I'm going to, our pleasure, start with that poll. It's going to be up on the screen right now, showing that 2/3 of Americans now oppose the war in Iraq. Even Republican senators like Senator John Warner and Chuck Hagel saying that President Bush needs to change course, not stay the course. Right. Why haven't Democrats been able to take better advantage of this deep division in the Republican Party?
Well, I'm not sure that they haven't taken advantage of that. I mean,
don't you think they should be doing better than they are right now when you look at these poll numbers?
Well, I mean, right now it depends on what polls you're looking at, but I mean, most of the polls that I've seen have showed that there's the chance, and I don't really hold that much stake in polls, but there's a chance of a massive, massive tide of Democratic victories in the House and in the Senate. So I'm not convinced that the premise is right. I mean, I think the Democrats have actually stood up and they've said, you know, we're not interested in a permanent occupation of Iraq, and we have to do something different. Now, I think what you're hearing from Democrats are a couple, 2 or 3 different plans, but at least what we're hearing is some notion of change is important, and we're not seeing that from the Republicans.
And Stephanie, the problem is, I think when some voters out there hear the Democrats have 2 or 3 plans, they're saying there's no unified voice. Why can't you guys all get on the same page?
Well, according to the poll you just cited, Paula, there's an awful lot of cut-and-run defeatocrats out there like us. I think that most people agree that what they're doing now is not working. So, you know, I think, you know, you look at the National Intelligence Estimate, which says the same thing Democrats have been saying for 2 years, that the Iraq War is making terrorism worse, not better. You know, I think the insurgency is only about 4% al-Qaeda. You know, I believe in what Jack Murtha says, that, you know, we are the problem. We are the target. The vast majority of Iraqis want us out of there. We are caught in a civil war.
But, Joe, Stephanie just brought out that term, defeatocrats, which Republicans have accused John Murtha of being. And they want the American public to believe that Democrats don't want the U.S. to win this war. Well, don't Democrats risk this?
Well,
by
no,
their strategy?
I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. I think Democrats have made it very clear. We appreciate the sacrifices that the soldiers are making. We just don't want them to be sacrificed. But we keep talking Republican, Democrat in these polls. Keep in mind the majority of American voters are right in the middle. They're neither Republican nor Democrat. So what you're seeing is this middle that's being courted by both Republicans and Democrats, and they're siding with the Democrats. The Bush administration cannot articulate how they're going to get out of Iraq, and that's going to be their downfall.
And that's the same criticism, though, that's being heaped on the Democrats. What is this plan? Okay, you got a couple of plans, but well, I mean, we can't trust you to get out any faster.
I would argue that George Bush is not even articulating a desire to get out of Iraq. I mean, we know that several months ago, both the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans stripped from bills in both houses the desire, the statement that we have no designs on permanent occupation of Iraq. And clearly, all the Democrats are saying that's something that we should tell the Iraqi people, that we're not going to be there indefinitely. But the Republicans have fundamentally disallowed any opportunity for the Democrats to say that.
Stephanie, I want to move you on to the issue of North Korea, because that's really important.
I agree with Sam, though. That's, you know what I mean? It's like if you look at these polls, I mean, Americans are not buying this Democrats to want to lose. Yeah. Define winning. Many of us feel that winning would be getting out and removing the target.
I'm going to quickly move you on to North Korea, Stephanie. Condoleezza Rice moving into the region. A lot of people think, some of your listeners think she should be meeting one-on-one with Kim Jong-il. Do you think she should be, and is that what your listeners are really telling you?
Yeah, oh no, Paula, I think our Paris Hilton foreign policy that we're using now, which is no, just don't speak to anyone, they know what they did. I think that's working very well. We have even James Baker saying, I mean, you know, we need to talk to people that we don't agree with. You know, I mean, we had inspectors in there when Bill Clinton was president. They had 400% less nuclear capability, and now this is Bill Clinton's fault.
Joe,
I think his problem, Paul, is once he got away with killing the Lindbergh baby and singing that Titanic, Bill Clinton moved on to being able to be responsible for much more important things.
Wow, that was loaded. Joe, you get 10 seconds for a closing thought on
Well,
North Korea and what's at
look,
stake.
the bottom line is that we need to back channel. Here's my suggestion to George Bush if he's listening. Bring in a bipartisan group of people, Baker, Powell, bring in Republicans and Democratic secretaries of state, the best brains you can find. Please, Mr. Bush, check your brain at the Oval Office and get some people in there that know what to do.
I have a feeling he's otherwise engaged at this time this evening, but we'll let you know, Joe, if he's listening to you. Joe,
and if he heard me.
Joe Madison, Stephanie Miller, Sam Seder. Thank you for all of your time tonight.